Hey everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Kate if you're new here, and today I'm going to be telling you about all the books that I finished in the months of June and July of this year, because the last wrap-up that I filmed was May's, and I thought it would be a really fun and good and great idea to tell you about all the other books that I finished this summer, basically excluding August. So I think I have about like 10-ish books to tell you about. So yes, let's get started. Sorry I have my phone out, but it has my storygraph pulled up. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is called Kink, and it was edited by Garth Greenwell and R.O. Kwan. It is a collection of short stories. Honestly, well, let me start by saying I rated it 3 stars. I feel like it's hard to rate a short story collection, because especially if it's by a bunch of different authors, because everybody has different styles, different subject matters that they like to touch upon. And I mean, what are the odds that when you get like 10 different authors writing in one book that all of their styles are going to resonate with you? I just feel like that's probably not likely. So it was kind of difficult for me to rate this because I loved some of the stories, thought some of the other ones were just okay. I do remember really enjoying Brandon Taylor's short story, and it really makes me want to pick up either Real Life or Filthy Animals, just because that was the first and only thing I've ever read by him, and I really enjoyed it. But honestly, I know with its title being Kink, you would think it would be a book about like sex, and I honestly think it was definitely a lot more literary than the title like lets on, and it was a lot about desire and identity and what it means to want certain things from certain people and like how you fit into certain relationships and stuff like that. So I definitely think it explored topics that I enjoyed in a way that I liked, but like I said, I think I just liked other stories more than others, and so I think it was just hard to rate it, but I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely don't think it's for everyone, because some of the stories touch on like sexual violence and things like that, and so obviously I would just look up trigger warnings before you pick this up, just to make sure it's something that you're mentally and emotionally like ready to handle, I guess. But it was definitely interesting. The next book that I read in June was My Brilliant Friend, by Elena Ferrante. So I love this book. I rated it 5 stars. I cannot wait to get to the second book in the series. I think it's a quartet, the Neapolitan novels, I think. I honestly think I picked this up because I heard a lot of people on BookTube talking about it and how much they liked it or how interested they were in reading it and whatever, and so I picked it up and I really enjoyed it, which was very surprising to me because I think the cover is kind of ugly. And I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but like it's kind of hard not to sometimes. And I was just like, this kind of looks a little boring or a little weird. And then I heard it was translated fiction, and I was like, uh-oh, like what if it's hard for me to like get along with? And no, it was so interesting. You're basically following 2 little girls in Italy. They're kind of best friends, but then they're also kind of like, I don't want to say enemies, but they definitely have a rivalry, and it's just kind of like following them and their relationship, starting out as being little girls in school and how similar they kind of are, to them kind of like becoming less and less similar and kind of like coming back together and like their lives kind of like that a little bit. But I'm pretty sure the one friend disappears when she gets older, and her son contacts her friend and is like, hey, do you know where my mom is? And she was like, oh, she's always wanted to disappear, like you should have known this is gonna happen. That's like kind of how the book starts out, and that just really hooked me. And so I was so interested in kind of just like their relationship and how it all works out in the end. Like I cannot wait to get to the second one. Again, I do think there is a little bit of violence in it. I don't think there's anything too graphic, but maybe just like check on that before you pick it up if you're sensitive to things like that. Next book that I read was kind of stupid, and it was Never Have I Ever by Jocelyn Jackson. I rated it 3 stars. It was a thriller. Honestly, I think I picked this up just because I haven't read a thriller in a pretty long while before picking that up, and I kind of missed it. I was like, I just want something quick and snappy and something that isn't gonna make me think too hard about what I'm reading, because I feel like the books in May were pretty thought-provoking, and so was My Brilliant Friend and Kink, and I just needed like a mental break, but I still wanted to read, and I was like, okay, perfect, we'll pick this up. And if I'm being real, it was just kind of like really pretty stupid. Like, I don't know. It's just like a mystery thriller. Like, if you have read thrillers before, I don't think this is anything that would excite you. I think maybe if you're new to thrillers, this would be a fun place to start, just because it was pretty interesting. It was sort of a domestic thriller, less about like cheating husband and wives, but definitely just so dramatic about like housewives, basically. And I don't know, it was kind of just, I don't know. Just, it was fine. The next book that I read in June was Blueberries by Elena Savage. So this is a collection of essays, and I rated it 5 stars. I loved it. I already want to reread it. I wish I would have underlined and highlighted and took notes while I was reading it, just because of how interesting some of the essays were. I just feel like it definitely made me think about things in ways that maybe I've never done before, specifically within like relationships and friendships, and kind of like my role in society as a young woman. I don't know. I picked this up obviously because of Rebecca from Rebecca Eats Books. I'm pretty sure I have a vlog, at least like reading some of the book, on my channel if you're interested in other thoughts I have on it. But yeah, I definitely think I'm going to reread this and kind of like read it more like in depth, like take more time and think about what I'm reading a little bit more. I just feel like I was so excited when I got it that I kind of like flew through it, and I definitely wish I would have taken my time a little bit more. But yes, I definitely enjoyed that. But again, there are certain topics in this book, like sexual violence, that I just don't know would be for everyone. So I definitely think that you should look up trigger warnings just to see if it's even going to be something that you are ready to pick up at the time. The next book I have is Burnt Sugar by Amini Doshi, and I rated this 5 stars. First of all, I think the cover for this book is beautiful. That purple and green just gets me right in the little soul. Like, I just think it is so beautiful. And the story was just something I've never read before. So we're basically following like a mother-daughter relationship in India. And her mother, I don't want to say didn't treat her correctly when she was growing up, but was definitely an out-of-the-box type of mom. I'm pretty sure her parents were married, and then her mom was like, whoa, 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 I don't want this life, so you're gonna come with me, and we're going to, I'm pretty sure they like joined a cult, and her mom just kind of like, I don't want to say went off the deep end, but was a little just living in her own universe, and her daughter was, I feel like, just kind of there to maybe not raise herself, but to learn certain things on her own. And I think that was really hard on her daughter, obviously. I don't know if, I forget if they share a lover, but they definitely, the daughter ends up with someone a lot older than she is, and the relationship just definitely seems a little off and not the best. And I think she is angry that her mother let this happen and let this go on. And I think she is very bothered that now that her mother is older and is starting to like forget things and her health isn't really in the greatest place, her mother is now kind of expecting her to step in and play a mother role to her when she doesn't feel like her mother did that for her growing up. And so there's just so many mixed feelings of, this is my mom and I love my mom and my society tells me I need to take care of my parents when they get old, but also, why should I when she treated me this way, that way, and this other way? You know what I'm saying? And so I just definitely liked that conflict of, this is what society tells me I should do, and this is like kind of how I feel, but like also what the hell, you know? I just feel like it was very realistic, because I feel like she had to learn from a very young age that her parents were people too, and if I'm being honest, I think that was one of the hardest lessons for me to learn growing up, was that my parents aren't perfect, and they are also human beings, and yes, you can hold people accountable for their mistakes, but also most people hold their parents to a higher standard than they hold other people, and is that fair or not? And so it just definitely made me reflect on my own relationship with my parents a lot more than I would have ever expected, and it was just beautiful. I loved the book so much, and the writing was really awesome, and yeah, I really liked it. I'm so sorry if you hear that squeaking. My dog is like snoring right now on my bed, and he's so old and crunchy. He literally turns 18 this year, and I just like feel so bad for him. But anyways, yes, so the first book that I finished in the month of July this year is Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I rated this 5 stars, but I honestly don't know if I've ever felt as seen by main character as I did by Frances. Just the role she chooses to play in her relationships just felt so like real to me. And I know that some people don't like her books and think they're so dramatic and so like not teeny bopper, but very just like Tumblr drama, blah blah blah, and I don't feel like that at all, but maybe I'm the dramatic one here, I don't know. But I just, the way that she interacts with people and the way she lashes out sometimes, I just felt very seen, and like she's very like passive, I would say, on the outside, but I definitely think she knows what she wants and she kind of goes and gets it even if she's afraid. And I definitely don't think people always really understand who she is. I know that some people are into the idea of romance that starts off on feet like that, because just because you're in a relationship with someone doesn't mean that feelings for other people necessarily like aren't there anymore. Like I would say that it's normal to still like love people you used to be with or friends that you used to have, even if they treated you wrong or you're not like together or like dating them anymore. Like you still love them and you want the best for them and you want them to be happy, but you're not in love with them. And I don't think it's wrong to like admit that and to like, I guess, make that a real feeling, because sometimes I feel like a lot of people my age, like I'm 24, I feel like struggle with the, just because you feel a certain way about somebody you used to like be with or used to be friends with or someone just you used to be close with in some way, just because you still like miss them and you like love them, as in like you want them to be happy, it doesn't mean that you like want them and need them back in your life. I don't understand why people think that like, I guess, feelings like go away or feelings are very concrete. Like just because I'm now with this person means that everything just doesn't matter and it didn't change my life, and like that's just not true. All those experiences that I've had before have shaped how my relationship is with this new friend or this new partner, and like I think it's important to still like maybe not remember all of that, but to like just accept it for what it is, instead of just being like, oh my god, he was so mean, oh my god, he was awful, oh my god, she was such a bitch, like I can't even believe I was ever friends with her, like oh my god, like he did this, that, and that to me, like oh my god, I don't even like, they're not even like real to me anymore. Because like in my head I'm like, oh, but like you were close for a reason and like you did love them and like you still love them and you want the best for them, but like leave me alone. Like I don't need you or want you in my life anymore. And it still might be hard to like see them with new friends or new partners, and I think that's natural. Like I think that's normal and natural to like almost watch yourself or like feel yourself being replaced by like new people in their life. Like I think that is so normal, and I think if you don't feel like that, it's a little strange, or you just were never close to that person in the first place. And I just feel like this book explores all those feelings, and I just feel like it came at such a perfect time in my life, if I'm being honest. I loved conversations with friends. I know not everyone did, but I definitely did, and I recommend it, honestly, for real. I feel like probably the younger you are, maybe not the younger, I would say this is for like mid-20s people, I would say. Maybe not, but I think that's what I would recommend this. Whereas I feel like normal people I would recommend to younger, maybe like college-aged kids, people. And then I think Conversations with Friends is definitely more like mid-20s, early 20s kind of book. Just because I feel like that's when a lot of relationships start to change. A lot of people have graduated high school, graduated college, and are now making more serious life decisions, and like it's hard to like watch certain things happen, but I think it's natural and it's normal, and I feel like this book really made me like feel like that, and I just liked it a lot, I guess, is all I'm saying. Okay, the next book that I finished in July was I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. I gave this 3 stars. I was going to, as in I did film a vlog, didn't edit it and didn't post it because I literally finished the book in a day, and I was like, there's literally nothing to say. Like, I barely filmed anything. So I was like, I don't know. I don't really care anymore. So 3 stars. So basically, this book, while reading it, made me feel so tense and on edge, and I don't know if scared is the right word, but just very like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like whoa, 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 like what's about to happen, like literally the whole way through. And I think that's why I like couldn't put it down, because I was like, I need it to like wrap up, like I need this feeling of like nervousness and anxiety to like stop, so I need to finish the book. And I would say the book is very compulsive. Like, I really feel the need to keep picking it up and to keep going and to keep reading it. But the ending just kind of was obnoxious to me. Like, I was so confused. I didn't understand. Like I said, tense. And then I was like, what the hell? Like, what just happened? This is so stupid. And again, maybe I'm just like too dumb, not smart enough to understand it, to like understand the concepts and the themes and da. But like, I don't really care. Like, I was confused, and that's just the reality of it all. And it just like didn't do it for me. I know a lot of people liked it. I know a lot of people feel the same way I did. I know there's a movie on Netflix. Too afraid to watch it, if I'm being honest. I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and be scared. I'm just like not in the mood for that right now. But yes, 3 stars to I'm Thinking of Ending Things. The next book that I finished in the month of July was Long Bright River by Liz Moore, and I gave this 4 stars. So I got this book during my little work friend like book exchange last Christmas, and it sat on my shelf for almost a year, and I was like, I don't know, it looks so long, it was so long, but I couldn't put it down. It was very good. So it's definitely more of a like crime mystery novel, kind of like the Dublin Murder Squad series, but I would say less graphic, and they delve into the personal relationships a lot more than those books do. But yeah, not a thriller, so don't think it's a thriller. You're basically following like 2 sisters. They were like besties growing up. They were raised by their grandma, and the one sister decides to become a police officer. The other sister ends up being an addict and like a sex worker, and just living basically a complete different life than this sister. They kind of like aren't really friends anymore as they grow up, but they're still like connected. And then next thing you know, the sister who's a sex worker goes missing. So her cop sister is freaking out, you know, like, yes, they're not close anymore, but like they're sisters, you know. So she's like, oh my god, where's my sister? And she goes on this big like hunt and this big whatever to like find her sister, and like all these family dramas and family secrets come out, and like it was good. It was really good, actually. I am afraid that I might forget it in a few years. That's honestly, I think, why I didn't rate it 5 stars. Like, it just didn't like stick with me, but it was good. It was really good. So I definitely liked it more than just kind of liking it, but it wasn't 5 stars. But again, it deals with like sexual violence and just violence in general, so I would just look for trigger warnings to make sure that you're emotionally available to read something like this. I'm sorry, I feel like I keep saying that in the books that I'm talking about today, but I just feel like that's what I pick up somehow. If I could have a year of fun, nice, lighthearted books, that would be great. It sounds like a really nice idea. I just don't think I'd have a lot of 5 stars. But I do think that will be one of my goals for next year, is to hopefully read a little bit more, maybe not lighthearted, but like happier books. So we'll see. The next book that I read in the month of July was Piranesi by Susanna Clark. I rated this 3.25 stars. It honestly started off with me being pretty confused. Then it moved into me understanding what was happening and enjoying, like, learning about this world and like learning kind of like just the way it was all like working and like what was happening. And then I was just kind of like, this is so stupid and I don't really care, which I know is like not great. Like, I liked it. I gave it a 3.25, but I mean, I don't think it'll stick with me. Like I said, it would I wasn't really confused. Like, I was at the beginning, but once I like learned what was happening, I like understood. But I was just like, why? For what? Why? And why is this on so many like award lists? Like, that's kind of why I was confused. And then I was like, honestly, I think it's probably because it's like fantasy, like that's not really like my thing. And so I'm like, maybe that's just like why I don't like it. I'm not really sure, but, and which makes me so sad because I know a lot of people I love watching really enjoyed this. And I didn't dislike it, I just wasn't a favorite like at all. But like, you're like following a character called Piranesi who's like in this labyrinth of just basically of like a hall of just infinite rooms. And you almost feel like it's like set way back when. I don't want to say he seems stupid, but he's very like naive and like he almost seems like an adult child, like having to like learn how to like fend for himself and like whatever. And then there's like a twist. But it's like magical, so I feel like that build up of like learning about the world because it was magical, I feel like just didn't really do it for me. Like, the ending wasn't involved enough with the actual story for me to feel like maybe enjoy it as much as I wish I did. It just wasn't for me, that's all I have to say. And the last book I'm going to talk about today is called Consent by Annabelle Line, and I gave this 3.75 stars. So I picked this up because it was on the women's prize long list, and I liked it more than I thought I was going to, actually. It was just a very interesting concept. So you're basically following 2 separate families, and they're both 2 separate like sister relationships. And I would say in both families, the sisters are pretty opposite of each other. But then, so you follow them pretty separately, pretty much like the whole time, and then towards the end, you realize that their stories are actually a lot more connected than at least what I ever expected, and that was just really fun and really interesting to pick up on and to finish. But I don't think I'll remember this one for very long. That's why I gave it a 3.75, but I really did enjoy it, I would say. And I feel like it's called Consent because like, I feel like they're talking about consent in a like romantic and sexual way. We're talking about consent in like a family way. We're talking about what consent means in like hospital and health settings, I would even say. And it was just really interesting how the author touched on all of the different varieties of consent, which I know sounds kind of weird, but I definitely think our society today talks about consent in a very sex-focused way, and I thought it was really interesting that she talked about it in like all sorts of just relational ways, in who can consent and what people can consent for, and like in what mental states someone can be in to consent for certain things, and like it was just very interesting to me. So if that sounds interesting to you, I would definitely read the little storygraph description of the book. And if it still sounds interesting, I would definitely pick it up because I liked it. It was just like, I feel like it just like caught me off guard. And I feel like that's why I didn't rate it 5 stars, if I'm being honest. Like I think I'll forget about it, and it just kind of was like, oh, what the heck? What the heck? And then it just kind of ended, and it was good. So, yeah. I'm sorry if I rambled a ton during this video, especially when I was talking about conversations with friends, but yes, I just wanted to tell you about all of the books that I finished this summer, basically. And yes, I have no idea what my next video will be, but I'm happy you're watching this one. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.